You know, Anna Kasparian, she was saying that after she got assaulted by this homeless guy, she's not only was she called racist, but she saw these other progressive channels were making things up about her and lying about her. And that was like a wake-up call. So my response was, yes, this is what we see from the larger left space. An example I have from you guys, and it's not the biggest news story in the world or anything, but just one example off the top of my head, is that there were 5 different studies that came out that said conservatives are more attractive than liberals on average. And you guys did, I think, 3 different videos about me. And in it, in one with Nando Villa, who I know, and Anna, who I know, they insulted me, called me ugly, said I was wrong. Having nothing to do with news, this is what I get from progressive media when I was 100% dispassionate and correct. My point was, we had a study that came out as a story from like the Washington Post that said conservatives tend to be more attractive. And I said, this is why you'll tend to see conservatives being fiercely independent and meritocratic. Because people who are more attractive go through life, it's easier. Everybody wants to give them things. And then they say, hey, I lifted myself up by my bootstraps. Why can't everybody else? Liberals, who tend to be less attractive, say it's hard to live without support groups, and they band together. That's actually what multiple studies have found. The response I got from you guys was 3 different segments where I was called ugly, stupid, gross, crooked teeth, putting up ugly pictures of me. And so my question to you is why? And like, how is that any better from the corporate press?
So there's 2 things there. So number one, look, Tim, we went through this last time I was on the show too. So, brother, I don't agree with your interpretation, and I think that it's kind of self-serving to say our side is more attractive. And I know that you think
I'm not saying my side. It's not my side. I'm not a conservative.
I know.
But I didn't make this up. This is numerous studies.
No, I got you. Look, there's 8 different ways to frame an article. There's 8 different ways to frame a study. So you got to be careful about what the study. So look, we disagree on that. But did we go too far in having laughs, et cetera, about, the attractive, et cetera? Yeah, we probably did. Okay. And so, but back then we were more in trench warfare, right? And so back then, and the reason why a lot of the right wing has a completely skewed version of me is because people take clips usually out of context, or you're doing a big long segment and they'll take a 5-second clip, a 30-second clip, a 15-second clip, etc. And that's all the other side ever sees. So we see all of your whatever is the right-wing points of view, right? We don't see any of the left-wing stuff. We don't see any of the independent stuff because that didn't make the news, right? So for me, same thing for right-wing media. They will show you stuff that they think is outrageous, but they're not going to show you all the times that I said, it's probably from the Wuhan lab, Biden is too old, whatever, all those things, right? So that's why we started getting a crazy skewed view of all of us, of each other, right? So part of what Anna and I are doing now is we're trying to break down those walls, right? And so
you're here.
That's why I'm here. That's why I was here last time. Respect. That's why I'm going on Patrick Bet David again. That's why I'm going on Drinking Bros. And and these are all over the place. Like Lex Friedman, what's his politics? Nobody even knows, right? And I don't really care. I just care about the conversation. I went on Chris Williamson's show. I'm not sure what his politics are, right?
Same, I don't know.
Yeah, and so I went on trigonometry. So what? Let's have a conversation. Because part of the reason why we were making fun of each other and insulting each other and doing all this stuff is because we were so separated. We stopped thinking of each other as fellow citizens, fellow Americans. And so for the left, I'm trying to break that down. And guys, let's hear them out. Are they actually anti-war? Before you make up your mind, are they actually anti-corruption? Blah, 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 blah. I got you, brother. But let's take, look, the labor secretary. There's no reason not to like the labor secretary. The Teamsters helped to pick the labor secretary. So take the goddamn win. Take the win, right? So if they really want to cut the Pentagon, great. Are you kidding me? We've been dying to cut the Pentagon. Are you now going to say that you don't want to cut the Pentagon to spite Trump? That's crazy, right? So we're trying to break down the walls and have these conversations.
To that point, that's something that we actually have, or at least I have, and I've heard Tim mention as well, that we try to do or want to see happen, because I believe that the craziness that has come from the left is from the extreme left and not from the normal kind of moderate left. And there was a time in the United States where people on the left, or people that were left-leaning and people that were right-leaning, could, go to barbecues together and hang out together and do normal things that weren't political without trying to kill each other, or without actually, hating each other. And I think that that kind of stuff starts by coming back to the fact that we're all Americans. We all want what's best for the country, or at least that's the common ground we should be able to find. And if you can talk to people that actually do want what's best for the country, best for the people of America, then you can actually start to have a more civil political discourse in the country. And it's something, again, I've talked about this a bunch of times, and it's something that's in my opinion necessary, because as much as everyone talks about the meme of civil war, I've talked about we need an off-ramp, and the off-ramp is being able to talk to people without getting at other people's throats. And that's something me and Tim have talked about a
I think
bunch.
you being here, it's a major win.
Absolutely.
I respect and appreciate your response on things. I'm sure I've got videos as well. Everybody does. I don't think I'm a saint, but when we can have these conversations, we can pull up stories, we can discuss them, we can disagree on what they mean, like the Trump Constitution thing. You say, "Oh, you're crazy, you're wrong," but we're here, and that's
right.
that's massive, and I think that's going to. I'm really optimistic moving forward. I'm glad you are too.
So let me say a couple of things about it. First, I was guilty of it, no question. I remember writing after 2020, I'm like, I don't want to know any Trump voters. I don't want to associate with Trump voters. I got no interest in it, okay? And so, but what I've seen is that, first of all, the Trump base changed. I'm the only one on the left saying that. And I'm so curious to see if I'm right or wrong, because your only time is going to tell, when Trump does something the base doesn't like, is he tested, et cetera, right? But more importantly, when I started seeing, exactly to your point about the Civil War, I not only did a big percentage of the right wing want to separate, like Marjorie Taylor Greene was saying, but then in the polls I started seeing, wait a minute, a huge percentage of Democrats want to separate.
Yeah.
And so not as much as Republicans at that time. Republicans had lost, right, in 2020. So of course they wanted it more, but it was a big number for the Democrats. Oh, maybe we separate out the coast, and and we'll leave the rest of them to die, or whatever, right? Or live in squalor, all this stuff. I'm like, what do you? Wait. No, I hate this, because we're supposed to be America. It's United States of America, right? And so with that division was good. Now it's gotten to like a cancerous state where Joy Reid is saying, don't talk to family at Thanksgiving, right?
That's crazy.
And that's crazy. So some of my family members, some of my best friends are right wing, right? And we do what we kind of are doing on this show. I go, you're crazy. He goes, you're crazy. And then we go have a beer, right?
That's really good that you can do that. I mean, it was like a few days after the election before my mom would return my text.
Yeah. No,
I'm sorry
we
to hear
can't.
that.
I know.
Yeah, we can't do that, man. We've got to talk to each other. Otherwise, we might not know when we agree.
Well, maybe you can reach out to Crystal Ball and ask her to apologize, because I saw that clip from earlier where she lied about me, or maybe she was just wrong and she didn't fact check what she was saying. But I get sent this clip where you were on her show and she said, I was told to push Russian propaganda or some other nonsense like that. It was a complete fabrication, not true. You were even on that show, which is totally independent. No one told us to host you on the Culture War podcast. It was a show that got licensed out. And then I think this is another, so we have the clip here. I mean, it's just Crystal Ball saying, I'm blackpilled because, Tim Pool took shady money and was told to push propaganda or whatever, which is completely fake, just not real. And so maybe there's an opportunity for, I asked her for a retraction and apology. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. It's not true. And maybe there's, you can reach out to her and tell her,
I'm not gonna do that.
You're not gonna say, hey, Tim Pool hit you up?
No. Tim, I mean, look.
So how do we fix problems like this?
Okay, but Tim, you're going to make me ask you a question. Okay, but if that's not what happened, what happened?
You were on that show, The Culture War, right?
I was on one episode.
You're on one episode, for sure. We produced it in-house. You came to our studio. Mm-hmm. We reached out to you, asked you to come on the show. Nobody told us to do that. We produce everything. I own the company 100%, and we licensed distribution, not exclusively, to one company that was run out of Tennessee by a prominent conservative podcaster who worked for The Blaze. That's what happened. Yeah, After the fact, if she got money from anywhere else, I have nothing to do with that.
Right.
So
it did come from the Russians at some point.
Allegedly,
so
now.
You acknowledge that.
So
no?
there's a DOJ indictment alleging that RT employees had funneled money through shell companies to Lauren Chen, which she then used to pay out multiple personalities that she had signed agreements with. I don't know about the agreements of any other people, but the question I asked of Sam Cedar and I ask of you, you have sponsors on the Young Turks?
Yeah.
Do you ask them where they get their funding from? When a company comes to you and says, hey, we want to license a segment from your show, do you say, hold on, I got to figure out what company is providing the funding, what's your revenue sources?
Tim, I would say it depends. If you're a normal sponsor and you had a normal negotiation about CPMs, et cetera, there's no reason to suspect. But we do check a little bit more diligently. But at the same time, we're not like doctrinarian about, like, for example, Polymarket is one of our sponsors. God bless. So some people say, oh, you should, I don't like them. Well, okay,
They're getting
you don't like
investigated
them.
or something's
Right.
going on.
But we don't take money from oil companies. We don't take money from defense contractors. So there's a whole list of people we don't take money from. Yeah, so we do some due diligence,
Yeah.
right? So, and in that case, and I criticize you for this, Tim, look, that's a monster number.
No, it isn't.
Okay. Really?
How much money do you make per month?
So I'm not going to get into how much money we make per month.
No, you
but I
can't
will,
do that. You
no,
can't-
but
you
per
can't
video,
do that.
per video, getting $100,000 per video is a monster number.
No, it
an
isn't.
outrageously high number.
It's absolutely not correct.
You make $100,000 regularly per video?
So that we do 8 figures on Timcast. A Timcast IRL is an 8-figure per year company. So when we get approached by, I'm trying to be careful because we're currently doing contract negotiations with a bunch of different companies and we have sponsors. We have one sponsor that pays us $100,000. We get, in one instance, we got $50,000 for one ad read. So when we go to contract negotiations and we say, hey, guess what? Timcast IRL is the biggest live show on YouTube primetime. That costs a lot of money. So if you come to Tim Pool and you say, we want to license a show for you, you may say, why would I do it? So this is important. And we're rehashing something that most of my audience already knows. I was negotiating with 3 different companies. We were fielding multiple offers. One of those offers was $30 million. I took a lesser offer with lesser responsibilities. That's it. You also notice, if you look at the indictment, that Dave Rubin and Benny Johnson, independently of me, negotiated comparable contracts. How is that possible? Well, they have agents. Agents negotiate on their behalf. When you look at Call Her Daddy selling for $100 million, Joe Rogan for selling for $250 million, Travis Kelce selling for $100 million. Are those crazy numbers in the podcast industry? So if Tim Pool, who hosts the largest live show, primetime on YouTube, is approached by someone to license a new show, there's going to be a premium rate comparable to any other podcast. Now, that's besides the point. Whether or not I negotiate something or not, all of it goes through lawyers. I own the production company outright. For Crystal Ball to then fabricate this, or maybe she just doesn't know what she's talking about, that I was told to do things, it's an absurdity. It's not correct. My point ultimately in bringing it up is when she propagates this disinformation, which seeks to discredit me and this show, it's just not true. We did a license agreement with a company. I mean, look, someone from The Blaze comes to us and says, hey, we got a VC. I ask who it is. They say, here's the guy. The indictment even mentioned they staged a fake phone call with me and the VC because we did our due diligence, sent it to the lawyers. The lawyers did their research. We then conferred with other people. We had negotiations. To then claim that we did something untoward or we are part of some manipulative thing, it's discrediting the space, and it's bad for independent media.
So, Tim, the maybe the difference in how we perceive it is because left-wing and right-wing media is not comparable in terms of money.
Call Her Daddy? Is that she has a Kamala Harris?
Podcast is different. Podcast is different because what people were doing was trying to establish market position.
Rachel Maddow got $25 million in her new contract negotiations.
Oh, it's absurd.
She gets 38,000 views in the key demo. I'm sorry, MSNBC does.
Apples to apples, right? So podcasts are different. Cable news is different. But on online media, the left wing has none of the revenue you guys have. We just have normal ads. We just have normal subscribers. We're the biggest, and I've asked everyone else. Nobody gets 50,000, 100,000 a video. Nobody gets those deals.
You're bad at business.
No.
Do you know who our sponsors are? We have normal mainstream sponsors. We do things like BetterHelp.
Yeah, we're definitely not bad at business. Okay, we've been around the longest on the internet, etc. I wish there was sponsors that gave that to left wing. But hey, and if there's any sponsors watching, we've got a gigantic show. Okay, give us $100,000 a pop. We'd love to take it.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.